Standard 10, Science and Technology Part 2, Chapter Number 1, Heredity and Evolution. Introduction. Can you recall 1. Which component of the cellular nucleus of living organisms carries hereditary character? Answer. DNA carries hereditary character of living organisms. 2. What do we call the process of transfer of physical and mental characters from parents to the progeny? Answer. The process of transfer of physical and mental characters from parents to the progeny is called inheritance or heredity. 3.
ठीक आहे. तुम्हाला आता जर ते कुठल्या शब्दाचा अर्थ कळला नाही तर काही हे करू नका, कारण मी जेव्हा शिकवतो लाईव्ह तेव्हा मी प्रत्येक शब्दाचा अर्थ सांगतो. प्रोजेनी म्हणजे काय? चाइल्ड म्हणजे पुढचा अपत्य, पुढची जी येणारी जनरेशन आहे ती, स्पेशली तिला म्हटलं जातं प्रोजेनी. ठीक आहे. मग एका पॅरेंट्स कडून पुढच्या जनरेशन कडे, एका जनरेशन कडून पुढच्या जनरेशन कडे जे कॅरेक्टर्स ट्रान्सफर होतात त्यालाच आपण हेरिडिटी कॅरेक्टर्स म्हणतो. आणि स्पेशली हे हेरिडिटी कॅरेक्टर कुठून जातं तर डीएनए डिसेंड होतो. म्हणून बघा, कोणते पण आई वडील आणि मुलं आहे, म्हणजे आपण जर असं एका रांगेत आई वडील उभे केले आणि दुसऱ्या रांगेत मुलं उभे केले आणि तुम्हाला सांगितलं जोड्या लावा, लावता येतील की नाही लावता ना? जे आई वडील मुलं जे आहेत ते त्यांच्या आई वडिलांसारखेच दिसतात. आपल्याला लगेच आयडेंटिफाय करता येतं की कुठलं मूल कुठल्या आई वडिलांचं असतं. ठीक आहे. काय? कारण सिमिलर कॅरेक्टर त्यांच्यातले बरेचसे सिमिलर कॅरेक्टर हे जातात तिकडे. तुम्हाला पण काही कळलं नाही तर विचारत चला बेटा तुम्ही लोक पण. ठीक आहे.
Yes, sir.
Which are the components of the DNA molecule? Answer. The components of the DNA molecule are two helical strands consisting of deoxyribose sugar, phosphoric acid, and pairs of nitrogenous bases. Heredity and hereditary changes. You know that heredity is the transfer of biological characters from one generation to another via genes. Johann Gregor Mendel is pioneer of the modern genetics. Around the period of 1886, it took a long time for him to understand the conclusions of his research about heredity. In 1901, the reasons behind the sudden changes were understood due to the mutational theory of Hugo de Vries. Meanwhile, in 1902, Walter Sutton observed the paired chromosomes in the cells of grasshopper. Until then, it was not known to anyone. Research started in the direction of finding the nature of genetic material when it was proved that genes are carried via chromosomes. Through which 1944, trio of scientists Oswald Avery, Macklin McCarty, and Colin MacLeod proved that except viruses, all living organisms have DNA as genetic material. In 1961, the French geneticists Francois Jacob and Jacques Monod proposed a model for process of protein synthesis with the help of DNA in bacterial cells. It helped to uncover the genetic codes hidden in DNA. Thereby, the technique of recombinant DNA technology emerged, which has vast scope in the field of genetic engineering. The science of heredity is useful for diagnosis, treatment, and prevention of hereditary disorders, production of hybrid varieties of animals and plants, and in industrial processes in which microbes are used. Transcription, translation, and translocation.
इथपर्यंत कळलं का तुम्हाला काय? ठीक आहे. तुम्ही जर बघितलं तर ही जी खाली लाईन येते ही जशीच्या तशी तुमच्या पुस्तकात लिहिलं आहे, तुमच्या पुस्तकात सेम लिहिलेलं आहे. मग पुस्तकामध्ये काय फक्त लिहिलेलं आहे, त्याचं पिक्चर नाही. म्हणजे जेव्हा तुम्ही ते वाचणार तुम्हाला तो अर्थ समजेल आणि त्याचा जेव्हा तुम्ही ते पिक्चर बघणार, म्हणजे मी एकदा एक्सप्लेन करेल, एकदा इथे बघणार आणि एकदा तुम्ही स्वतः करणार. तर एक लेसन तुमचं किती वेळेस होतं? 3 वेळेस. 3 वेळेस लेसन झाल्यानंतर त्याची अंडरस्टँडिंगची लेवल ऑटोमॅटिकली वाढणार. क्लिअर? तुम्हाला काय अडचण भेटत दोघांना इथे? श्रुतिका, सायली,
हो सर.
समजतंय व्यवस्थित?
येस सर.
ओके. व्हिडिओ अशा पद्धतीने आपण बघणार आहोत. ठीक आहे. तुमचे कोणी फ्रेंड्स असले तर त्यांना पण सांगा, म्हणजे मग आपल्याला लवकरात लवकर स्टार्ट करता येईल. ठीक आहे.
Can you tell? Sketch and explain the structure of DNA and various types of RNA. Answer 1. DNA. 1. DNA molecule is a double helix consisting of 2 strands. Each strand of this helix is made up of nucleotides. 2. Each nucleotide is made up of A. Phosphoric acid, B. A deoxyribose sugar, C. A nitrogenous base. 3. Nitrogenous base are of 2 types, viz. Purines and pyrimidines. 4. The purines are of 2 types, viz. Adenine and guanine, and pyrimidines are of 2 types, viz. Cytosine and thymine. 5. The adenine always pairs with thymine with double hydrogen bonds. 6. While cytosine always pairs with guanine with triple hydrogen bonds. 7. The helices.
हे जे पेअरिंग वगैरे हे लक्षात ठेवायचं, ही अशीच असते. हे तुम्हाला 10वीत पण तीच आहे, 11वीत पण तीच आहे, 12वीत पण तीच आहे, आणि तुम्ही डॉक्टर बनले तरी सुद्धा तीच आहे. तुम्ही नाही शिकले तरी सुद्धा ती तीच आहे. सो हे लर्न करून ठेवायचे. ग्वायनाइन, सायटोसाइन, एडेनाइन, थायमाइन, आणि यांची पेअरिंग कोणासोबत, कारण हे विचारलं जातं. आणि हे जे दाखवलंय हे काय हायड्रोजन बॉन्ड्स आहे. याच्यामध्ये एस म्हणजे डीऑक्सिरायबोज शुगर आणि पी म्हणजे फॉस्फेट ग्रुप. तो हे डबल हेलिक्स. डबल हेलिक्स म्हणजे काय समजून घ्या. आता असे 2 रिबन आहे आणि त्यांना मध्ये मध्ये काही पट्ट्यांनी आपण जोडलेले आहे, तर त्या पद्धतीने आलं लक्षात. आणि डीएनए तुमचा डबल हेलिक्स असतो, 2 असतात त्याच्यात असे, आणि आरएनए मध्ये एकच असतो, सिंगल स्टँडर्ड. स्टँड म्हणजे दुसरं काय नाही, दोरा, समजून घ्या, धागा, तुकडा.
Remain bound due to these hydrogen bonds. 2. RNA. 1. RNA is nucleic acid having single strand of ribonucleotides. 2. Each ribonucleotide is made up of A. Ribose sugar, B. Phosphate molecules, and C. A nitrogenous base. 3. Adenine, guanine, cytosine, and uracil are the nitrogenous base substances which are present in RNA. 4. Adenine and guanine are 2 purines and cytosine and uracil are 2 pyrimidines. 5. RNA is found both in nucleus as well as in cytoplasm. 6. According to the functions, RNA is of the following 3 main types. A. mRNA. mRNA carries the information for protein synthesis from genes on DNA chain in nucleus to the ribosomes in the cytoplasm. Therefore, it is called messenger RNA. B. rRNA. rRNA is the component of the ribosomes. It helps in protein synthesis. C. tRNA. tRNA is present in the cytoplasm. According to the message of the RNA, it carries the specific amino acid up to the ribosomes as per the message coded on mRNA. Explain the meaning of genetic disorders and give names of some disorders. Answer. Genetic disorders are caused due to abnormalities in chromosomes and mutations in genes. Reasons of genetic disorders are as follows. 1. Increase or decrease in number of chromosomes causing numerical change. 2. Deletion of any part of the chromosome. 3. Translocation of chromosomes. 4. Sudden change or mutation occurring in a normal gene, turning it into a defective gene. 5. Mutations in more than one gene at the same time causing polygenic disorders. Examples: 1. Disorders due to numerical changes in the chromosomes: Down's syndrome, Turner's syndrome, Klinefelter's syndrome. 2. Monogenic disorders caused due to mutations: Hutchinson disease, Tay-Sachs disease, galactosemia, phenylketonuria, sickle cell anemia, cystic fibrosis, albinism, hemophilia, night blindness, etc. 3. Polygenic disorders: cleft lip, cleft palate, constricted stomach, spina bifida, a defect of the spinal cord, etc. are polygenic disorders. Diabetes, blood pressure, heart disorders, asthma, obesity are also polygenic disorders. With the help of RNA, the genes present in the form of DNA participate in the functioning of cell and thereby control the structure and functioning of the body. Information about protein synthesis is stored in the DNA, and synthesis of appropriate proteins as per requirement is necessary for body. These proteins are synthesized by DNA through the RNA. This is called as central dogma. mRNA is produced as per the sequence of nucleotides of DNA. Only one of the two strands of DNA is used in this process. The sequence of nucleotides in mRNA being produced is always complementary to the DNA strand used for synthesis. Besides, there is uracil in RNA instead of thymine of DNA. This process of RNA synthesis is called as transcription. The mRNA formed in nucleus comes in cytoplasm. It brings in the coded message from DNA. The message contains the codes for amino acids. The code for each amino acid consists of 3 nucleotides. It is called as triplet codon. Dr. Hargobind Khurana, a scientist of Indian origin, has made an important contribution in discovery of triplet codons for 20 amino acids. For this work, he has been awarded with the Nobel Prize in 1968 along with 2 other scientists. Each mRNA is made up of thousands of triplet codons. As per the message of mRNA, amino acids are supplied by the tRNA. For this purpose, tRNA has anticodon having complementary sequence to the codon on mRNA. This is called as translation. The amino acids brought in by tRNA are bonded together by peptide bonds with the help of rRNA. During this process, the ribosome keeps on moving from one end of mRNA to other end by the distance of one triplet codon. This is called as translocation. Such many chains come together to form complex proteins. These proteins control various functions in the body of living organisms and their appearance too. Living organisms can produce new individuals like themselves due to genes only, and some of those genes are transmitted to the next generation without any changes. Due to this, some of the characters of parents are transmitted to their offsprings. However, sometimes sudden changes occur in those genes. Sometimes any nucleotide of the gene changes its position that causes a minor change which is nothing but the mutation. Some mutations may be minor, but some may be considerable. Example, mutation may cause the genetic disorders like sickle cell anemia. This is an everlasting process, and it is one of the proof for Darwin's theory of natural selection. Can you recall? 1. What is the function of the appendix of our digestive system? Answer. There is no function of the appendix of our digestive system. Therefore, it is called vestigial organ. 2. Are our wisdom teeth really useful for chewing the food? Answer. No. 3. Why did the huge animals like dinosaur become extinct? Answer. There are two theories about extinction of dinosaur, and those are as follows. 1. Dinosaur could not adapt to the environment in which they were trying to survive. There was beginning of ice age, which resulted in scarcity of food. The starvation was one of the reasons for extinction. 2. A meteor collided with the earth, and this resulted in catastrophic death of the dinosaurs. 4. Why are many species of animals and birds getting extinct? Answer. The reasons of extinction of many species of animals and birds are as follows. 1. There is continuous and rapid change in the environment which is causing threat to the natural habitats of the animals and birds. 2. Pollution, climate change, increasing urbanization, etc. are factors causing depletion of food and shelter of animals and birds. 3. Hunting and poaching has also resulted in extinction of many species. Evolution. Evolution is the gradual change occurring in living organisms over a long duration. This is a very slow-going process through which development of organisms is achieved. All the stages in changes occurred in various components ranging from stars and planets in space to the biosphere present on the Earth should be included in the study of evolution. Formation of new species due to changes in specific characters of several generations of living organisms as a response to natural selection is called as evolution. 3.5 billion years ago, life had been non-existent on the Earth. At the beginning, there may have been only simple elements in the ocean on the Earth, and simple type of organic and inorganic compounds may have been formed from those. Complex compounds like proteins and nucleic acids may have formed over the long period from those simple compounds. First primitive type of cells may have been formed from the mixture of different types of organic and inorganic compounds. Number of those cells may have increased at the cost of surrounding chemicals. There may have been some differences among those cells, and according to the principle of natural selection, some may have shown good growth and some may have perished, which could not adjust with the surrounding. At present, crores of species of plants and animals with huge diversity regarding shape and complexity are present on the Earth. Animal diversity ranges from the unicellular amoeba and paramoecium to man and giant whale. The plant diversity consists of various species ranging from unicellular chlorella to the huge banyan tree. The life exists on Earth everywhere from equator to both the poles. Organisms are present at all the places like air, water, land, rock, etc. Humans have shown curiosity about origin of life and reasons for such a great diversity in life present on the Earth since ancient period. Different theories about origin and evolution of life have been proposed till today, of which theory of gradual development of living organisms is accepted. Internet is my friend. Collect the information from internet about Big Bang theory related with the formation of stars and planets and present it in your class. A peek into history. Many philosophers and religious scholars have written their views about formation of life. There seems to be a thorough discussion over the formation of universe in various cultures like Indian, Chinese, Roman, Greek, etc. Various cultures have noted different type of information about planets, stars, the Pancha Mahabhuta, living organisms, etc. in the form of poetry, stories, and religious sacred books. Theory of evolution. According to this theory, first living material, protoplasm, has been formed in ocean. In due course of time, unicellular organism was formed. Gradually, changes occurred in the unicellular organisms from which larger and more complex organisms were formed. All those changes were slow and gradual. Duration of all these changes is at most 300 crore years. Changes and development in living organisms had been all around and multidimensional, and this led to evolution of different types of organisms. Hence, this overall process is called as evolution, which is organizational. Progressive development of plants and animals from the ancestors having different structural and functional organization is called evolution. Evidences of evolution. Collective thinking upon all above-mentioned theories implies that evolution is everlasting process of changes. However, it needs proof to prove it. Following are various proofs available in support of the theories mentioned above. Morphological evidences. Try this. Observe the images and note the similarities between given animal images and plant images. Answer. Various similarities like structure of mouth, position of eyes, structure of nostrils, and ear pinnae and thickly distributed hairs on body are seen in animals, whereas similarities in characters like leaf shape, leaf venation, leaf petiole, etc. occur in case of plants. This indicates that there are some similarities in those groups, and hence it proves that their origin must be same and must have common ancestors. Anatomical evidences. If you carefully observe the pictures, there doesn't seem any superficial similarity between human hand, ox foreleg, flipper of whale, and patagium of bat. Similarly, use of each of those structures is different in respective animals. However, there is similarity in structure of bones and bony joints in organs of each of those animals. This similarity indicates that those animals may have common ancestor. Can you tell?
1. Which are the different organs in body of organisms? Answer. Higher organisms show different body organs and systems that carry out specific functions. Each system consists of definite organs. In the thoracic cavity, there are lungs and heart. In skull, brain is located. In abdominal cavity, there is stomach, intestine, liver, kidney, etc. 2. Is each of the organs useful to organism? Answer. Each of the organs is not useful to organism. Each important vital organ performs specific function which is necessary for survival. Brain controls and coordinates all the vital activities. Heart is responsible for the circulation of blood throughout the body. Lungs perform respiration. Kidneys filter out nitrogenous waste products from the blood. In this way, each organ performs its own function. Only few organs, such as appendix, do not perform any function.
Use of ICT. Collect the information of geological dating and present it in the classroom. Vestigial organs. Degenerated or underdeveloped useless organs of organisms are called as vestigial organs. In living organisms, sudden development of new tissues or organs for living in changing environment is not possible. Instead, existing organs undergo gradual changes. Mostly, a specific structure in the body is useful under certain situation. However, same structure under different situation may become useless or even harmful. Such structure begins to degenerate under such situation as per the principle of natural selection. It takes thousands of years for a structure to disappear. Such organs are seen in different phases of disappearance in different animals. Such organ, though non-functional in certain organism, it may be functional in other organisms. That is, it is not vestigial in other organisms. Appendix, which is useless to human, is useful and fully functional organ in ruminants. Similarly, muscles of ear pinna, which are useless to human, are useful in monkeys for movement of ear pinnae. Various vestigial organs like tailbone, coccyx, wisdom teeth, and body hairs are present in body of human being. Observe and discuss. Observe the pictures. Use of ICT. Find how the vestigial organs in certain animals are functional in others. Present the information in your class and send it to others. Paleontological evidences. A question may arise in your mind that which organisms existed millions of years ago? How can we tell this? Now, this secret has been hidden in the earth. Large number of organisms get buried due to disasters like flood, earthquake, volcano, etc. Remnants and impressions of such organisms remain preserved underground. These are called as fossils. Study of fossils is an important aspect of study of evolution. Carbon consumption of animals and plants stops after death, and since then, only the decaying process of C14 occurs continuously. In case of dead bodies of plants and animals, instead of remaining constant, the ratio between C14 and C12 changes continuously as C12 is non-radioactive. The time passed since the death of a plant or animal can be calculated by measuring the radioactivity of C14 and ratio of C14 to C12 present in their body. This is carbon dating method. It is used in paleontology and anthropology for determining the age of human fossils and manuscripts. Once the age of fossil been determined by such technique, it becomes easy to deduce the information about other erstwhile organisms. It seems that vertebrates have been slowly originated from invertebrates. Introduction to scientists. Carbon dating method is based upon the radioactive decay of naturally occurring C14, and it is developed by Willard Libby. He has been awarded with Nobel Prize 1960 for this invention. The age of the materials determined by this method are published in the journal Radiocarbon. Connecting links. Observe and discuss. Observe the pictures and discuss the characters observed. Some plants and animals show some morphological characters by which they can be related to two different groups. Hence, they are called as connecting links. Example, in Peripatus, characters like segmented body, thin cuticle, and parapodia like organs are present. Similarly, these animals show tracheal respiration and open circulatory system similar to arthropods. This indicates that Peripatus is connecting link between Annelida and Arthropoda. Similarly, duck-billed platypus lays eggs like reptiles, but shows relationship with mammals too due to presence of mammary glands and hairs. Lungfish performs respiration with lungs irrespective of being fish. These examples indicate that mammals are evolved from reptiles and amphibians from fishes. Embryological evidences. Observe and discuss. Carefully we observe the stages of embryonic development of some animals shown in figure. Comparative study of embryonic developmental stages of various vertebrates given in the picture shows that all embryos show extreme similarities during initial stages, and those similarities decrease gradually. Similarities in initial stages indicate the common origin of all these animals. Darwin's theory of natural selection. Charles Darwin had collected innumerable specimens of plants and animals, and depending upon the observations of those specimens, he published the theory of natural selection, which preaches the survival of fittest. For this purpose, Darwin had published a book titled Origin of Species. While explaining the concept, Darwin says that all the organisms reproduce prolifically. All the organisms compete with each other in a life-threatening manner. In this competition, only those organisms sustain which show the modifications essential for winning the competition. However, besides this, natural selection also plays an important role because nature selects only those organisms which are fit to live and the rest perish. Sustaining and selected organisms can perform reproduction and thereby give rise to the new species with their own specific characters. Darwin's theory of natural selection was widely accepted for long duration. However, some objections were raised against the theory. Some of the main objections are: 1. Natural selection is not the only factor responsible for evolution. 2. Darwin did not mention any explanation about useful and useless modifications. 3. There is no explanation about slow changes and abrupt changes. Irrespective of all these objections, Darwin's work on evolution has been a milestone. Introduction to Scientists. Charles Robert Darwin, 1809 to 1882. This English biologist proposed a theory of evolution. He showed that all the species of living organisms have been gradually evolved over the period of thousands of years from common ancestor. He proposed that principle of natural selection is responsible for this evolution. Lamarckism. Jean-Baptiste Lamarck proposed that morphological changes occurring in living organisms are responsible for evolution, and the reason behind those morphological changes is activities or laziness of that organism. He called this concept as principle of use or disuse of organs. Further, he said that the neck of giraffe has become too long due to browsing on leaves of tall plants by extending their neck for several generations. Similarly, shoulders of the ironsmith have become very strong due to frequent hammering movements. Wings of birds like ostrich and emu have become weak due to no use. Legs of the birds like swan and duck have become useful for swimming due to living in water, and snakes have lost their legs by modifications in their body for burrowing habit. All these examples are types of acquired characters and are transferred from one to another generation. This is called as theory of inheritance of acquired characters or Lamarckism. Development of organs due to specific activities or their degeneration due to no use at all was widely accepted, but transfer of those characters from generation to generation was rejected. Because it had been verified many times that modifications brought in us are not transferred to next generation, and thereby Lamarck's theory was disproved. The living organism can transfer the characters which it has acquired to the next generation. This is called ancestry of acquired characters. Introduction to scientists. Jean-Baptiste Lamarck, 1744 to 1829. Lamarck proposed that the activities of the organisms are responsible for their evolution. This French naturalist proposed that each animal or plant undergo some changes in its lifespan, and those changes are transferred to the next generation, and such changes occur in next subsequent generations too. Internet is my friend. Collect the pictures and information of various species of monkeys from internet. Speciation. Formation of new species of plants and animals is the effect of evolution. Species is the group of organisms that can produce fertile individuals through natural reproduction. Each species grows in specific geographical conditions. Their food, habitat, reproductive ability, and period is different. However, genetic variation is responsible for formation of new species from earlier one. Besides, geographical and reproductive changes are also responsible. Similarly, geographical or reproductive isolation also leads to speciation. Human evolution. The biodiversity that is known today has been said to be formed from very simple unicellular organism due to evolution. In this evolution, origin of human evolution can be shown as per the picture. Last dinosaurs disappeared approximately 7 crore years ago. At that time, monkey-like animals are said to be evolved from some ancestors who were more or less similar to the modern lemurs. Tail of these monkey-like animals of Africa is said to be disappeared about 4 crore years ago. They developed due to enlargement in brain. Their hands were also improved, and thus ape-like animals were evolved. Meanwhile, these ape-like animals reached the South and Northeast Asia and finally evolved into gibbon and orangutan. Remaining ape-like animals stayed in Africa, and from them gorilla and chimpanzee evolved about 2.5 crore years ago. Evolution of some of the 2 crore year old species of apes seems to be occurred in different way. They had to use their hands more for eating food and other work. Those apes started to live on land as the forest started to decline due to dry environment. Their lumbar bones developed in such a way that they started to stand in erect posture in grasslands, and thereby their hands became available for use anytime. These first human-like animals with erect posture, which were using their hands, have evolved about 2 crore years ago. First record of human-like animal is with us in the form of Ramapithecus ape from East Africa. Afterwards, this ape grown up in size and became more intelligent, and thus the ape of South Africa evolved about 40 lakh years ago. The morphology of these human-like animals started to appear like to be the member of genus Homo about 20 lakh years ago, and thus skilled human developed. About 15 lakh years ago, human walking with erect posture was evolved. It may have existed in China and Indonesia of Asian continent. Evolution of upright man continued in the direction of developing its brain for the period of about 1 lakh years, and meanwhile it discovered the fire. Brain of 50,000-year-old man had been sufficiently evolved to the extent that it could be considered as member of the class wise man, Homo sapiens. Neanderthal man can be considered as the first example of wise man. The Cro-Magnon man evolved about 50,000 years ago, and afterwards this evolution had been faster than the earlier. About 10,000 years ago, wise man started to practice the agriculture. It started to rear the cattle herds and established the cities. Cultural development took place. Art of writing was invented about 5,000 years ago, and thus the history had been started. Modern sciences emerged about 400 years ago, and industrial society was established about 200 years ago. And now we have reached at this stage, and still we are searching the details of roots of human ancestry.